Hello there, I'm Diane Kubal, founder of Fulcrum Network, and I have joining me today Dr. Susan Cain of the Corporate Learning Institute and creator of the DISC Professional Styles Assessment. Well, this is the second in our series of videos, and today we're going to be talking about moving from bud to boss and how to use DISC for new managers. So as you think about moving into a management role, so what do managers or new managers need to think about in relation to DISC?
Well, let's use the profiles just for fun to see where we could go with that answer. It's a good question. So, your D dominant manager who's moving from bud to boss is very interested in being assertive, getting results quickly, proving up, maintaining control. And that's wonderful. Those are wonderful qualities when you think about a manager. But when you think about a leader, if this individual is going to be tasked at all with pulling people in for commitment levels, making sure people feel ownership over their roles and feel like they're part of a collaborative team, then the new manager is going to want to also employ some leadership skills and wear that hat. And by that, I mean empowerment skills. And the D dominant new manager may struggle a bit with letting go of control as they go to prove up in that new role, and they have to be mindful of bringing people with them. And so that's a wonderful way of looking at an opportunity for a D to develop as they're migrating to that new role. Let's take a look at the I, influential manager. This is an individual moving and again migrating towards a management role. Their focus is going to be on being liked. Now, that's a very good focus. It's very positive, something the world desperately needs. A person that's focused on helping others and wanting to spread goodwill and collaboration and open communication. At the same time, that manager moving into that new role, who is an I influential person, may need to think about making some hard calls and making sure that they don't try to play favorites and ensuring that they're not everybody's best friend. And that's a temptation, I think, that your young, influential leaders might fall into if they're not mindful and aware of the fact that that's just one of their priorities and to manage that a bit. And then let's take a look at the S. We're crossing the line from an extrovert to an introverted individual now. An S steady person who is moving from bud to boss, going to be in the management role, is concerned about detail and getting the role correctly executed and waiting to take action until they have all the information available to avoid any kind of risk. And that's a very positive, healthy thing to be. At the same time, when that individual is migrating to that role, becoming a manager and moving out of that peer role, they're going to need things like some D behavior, getting results, challenging others, setting bottom lines. They're going to need to pull in a lot of information, and typically that means being a bit more assertive than an S steady individual might feel comfortable with. So it's a wonderful opportunity for them to grow and at the same time to adapt. And finally, let's take a look at the C. And the C, when we think about a C conscientious individual moving from bud to manager, what strikes me as interesting is this is again more of an introverted individual who would tend to not want to assert themselves if they didn't have to. And yet, at the same time, they have a wonderful sense of intuition. They know and can feel when something isn't quite right. And they also are challenged because they're not necessarily people focused. Again, that D trait of needing to take people with them as a C conscientious individual is critical. And the focus of that C conscientious individual is going to be on trying to get perfect results. And of course, those aren't obtainable. So we have to be really careful as a C individual of being too oriented towards perfection and not allowing some iterative learning to happen and failures, which are a natural part of the learning cycle. So a good C individual coming into a leadership role should be encouraged to bring people with them, create a team, allow failure to happen, and work on empowering people, just like the D that we spoke about earlier.
Well, this is really great, Sue. I love this job aid and how you've just narrow down the essence of each style. The D is the get it done, the I is here to help, the S is avoiding unnecessary risk, and the C is ensuring that the correct approach is taken. And even just these little phrases are so helpful to kind of identify what your style is. And this is what we use in our Modern Managers Leadership Series in our Bud to Boss program. And each of the programs has job aids just like this, little tools to help managers as they make this transition. So if you'd like to learn more about the Bud to Boss program or about the DISC Professional Styles Assessment, click on the links below. Stay tuned for our next topic on leading with emotional intelligence using DISC.